If you run a Chinese technology conglomerate today, if you are navigating the cutthroat, trillion-dollar waters of global consumer electronics, you are haunted by a single, terrifying ghost. Huawei. The sudden, violent decapitation of Huawei from the global tech stage isn't just a news story. It is the foundational trauma of the modern Chinese tech sector. Understanding exactly how they died is the only way to understand the multi-billion-dollar, deeply secretive decisions the rest of the industry is making right now. Just to survive. Let's rewind to Q2 2020. The world is locked down. The global smartphone market is bleeding, dropping a historic 24%. But amid the chaos, Huawei did the impossible. Driven by domestic momentum, they surpassed Samsung. They became the undisputed #1 smartphone vendor on Earth. They had their own processors. They had a massive global supply chain. They were physically building the 5G infrastructure for the entire planet. They were an unstoppable freight train. And then, Washington flipped a geopolitical kill switch. In May 2020, the Trump administration didn't just ban American companies from selling to Huawei. They weaponized a little-known, devastatingly powerful piece of trade law called the Foreign-Produced Direct Product Rule. This rule gave the US government extraterritorial reach over the entire global technology ecosystem. It explicitly stated that any manufacturer, anywhere in the world, using even a fraction of American semiconductor equipment or software was legally barred from selling to Huawei. Think about how insane this is. Imagine you own a bakery in France, but the oven you use was built in Ohio. The US government passes a law saying because you use an American oven, you are legally forbidden from selling bread to a specific guy in China. If you disobey, you face the crushing weight of US Treasury sanctions. Because practically every modern chip factory on Earth relies on American tools, the trap snapped shut globally. Citing espionage fears, the US cut off Huawei's access to advanced semiconductors, the Android ecosystem, and the global foundries required to print their proprietary Kirin processors. Huawei's $100 billion smartphone empire evaporated. Overnight. Watching closely from the sidelines was Xiaomi. As Huawei contracted, Xiaomi aggressively expanded into the vacuum. By 2023, they commanded 14% of the worldwide market. Business was booming. But behind closed doors, Xiaomi's executives were terrified, because they knew they were standing right on top of a trapdoor, and Washington held the lever. To ensure they didn't share Huawei's fate, Xiaomi quietly launched one of the most ambitious, secretive, and expensive survival strategies in the history of Silicon Valley. But to understand it, you have to look inside the phone. For its first decade, Xiaomi was fundamentally an assembler. They sourced the best off-the-shelf components, stitched them together efficiently, and sold them at razor-thin margins. But a smartphone isn't just a computer. It's a highly complex, interdependent city of microchips. You need chips to manage battery charging, process raw light from camera sensors, and talk to 5G cell towers. Historically, the San Diego-based behemoth Qualcomm has sold these chips not as isolated Lego bricks, but as a tightly bundled, inescapable ecosystem. If you buy Qualcomm's main Snapdragon processor, you are highly incentivized to use their 5G modem, their power amplifiers, and their image processors. This saves manufacturers billions in engineering costs. It creates fast, cheap phones. But it also creates absolute, paralyzing dependency. If you rely entirely on an American supplier for your central processor, your camera, your network, and your battery, you are not a foundational technology company. You are just a highly sophisticated hardware distributor. You are a renter on Qualcomm's land. If Washington blacklisted Xiaomi, their phones wouldn't just get a little slower. They would literally lose the ability to turn on, charge safely, or take a photograph. This anxiety wasn't theoretical. On January 14, 2021, the US Department of Defense designated Xiaomi as a communist Chinese military company. The justification was shockingly broad. Internal memos flagged them simply because CEO Lei Jun received a standard civic award, and because Xiaomi's public roadmap outlined investments in 5G and AI. The consequence? American investors were legally mandated to dump Xiaomi stock entirely. For a multinational reliant on global capital markets, being severed from Wall Street is a death sentence. It starves you of capital. Without capital, you can't fund R&D. Without R&D, you die. Xiaomi fought back aggressively in US federal court, and miraculously, they won. They survived. But the chilling effect inside their Beijing headquarters was permanent. It solidified an absolute existential necessity. They needed technological independence. There was just one massive problem. Achieving silicon independence is notoriously difficult. Xiaomi had already tried it in 2017 with their Surge S1 main processor. It was an engineering disaster that overheated and dropped calls. Attacking the main brain of the smartphone to rival Qualcomm was mathematically impossible. So, Xiaomi executed a brilliant pivot. If they couldn't replace the brain, they would methodically replace the vital organs surrounding it. Industry analysts call this a Trojan Horse strategy. Xiaomi began systematically picking off the companion chips within the Qualcomm bundle. In 2021, Xiaomi launched an independent image signal processor. By bypassing Qualcomm's built-in camera software, Xiaomi gained absolute control over their photographic aesthetic, partnering with Leica to differentiate their cameras from every other Android on Earth. Later that year, they announced the Surge P1. Pushing 120-watt ultra-fast charging into a single battery cell without blowing it up is incredibly dangerous. The P1, a resonant charging chip, achieved 97.5% power efficiency and plummeted heat loss by 30%. It allowed massive batteries to charge in under 20 minutes safely. In 2022, the Surge G1 arrived to dynamically manage battery health, extending the battery's lifespan to the equivalent of 6 years of heavy daily use. By designing these peripheral chips in-house, Xiaomi was quietly stripping away Qualcomm's monopoly inside their own devices, transistor by transistor. As technically impressive as these chips are, the engineering is only half the story. This entire peripheral strategy was actually a massive geopolitical smokescreen. We are living in a semiconductor Cold War. If Xiaomi had held a press conference announcing a state-backed push to rip out American Snapdragon processors, it would have been political suicide. It would have drawn the Eye of Sauron in Washington. But if you frame your custom silicon purely as a way to make sunset photos look better, or to charge a battery 10 minutes faster, you fly entirely under the geopolitical radar. Washington lawmakers do not draft emergency embargoes over a battery chip. Behind this harmless facade, Xiaomi was building a formidable semiconductor war chest. Between 2021 and 2025, Xiaomi invested roughly $14.9 billion into R&D. Their custom chip team swelled to over 2,500 specialized engineers. They poured capital into 42 domestic semiconductor companies, quietly maturing the broader Chinese supply chain in tandem with their own ambitions. All while publicly smiling as a harmless Qualcomm customer. By 2025, they finally had the capital, the talent, and the foundry relationships necessary to attempt the impossible once more. In May 2025, Xiaomi officially unveiled the X-Ring 01. This was not a peripheral component. This was a flagship, 3-nanometer system-on-chip designed to directly rival the absolute best silicon produced by Qualcomm and Apple. Built with 19 billion transistors and a massive 16 megabytes of L3 cache, it proved Xiaomi had evolved into world-class chip designers. But wait, if Huawei was banned from printing advanced chips, how was Xiaomi allowed to print a bleeding-edge 3-nanometer chip at global foundries like TSMC? A massive regulatory loophole. US export controls were laser-targeted at data center infrastructure and supercomputing AI architectures. consumer-grade smartphone chips were largely left unaffected by the most severe node restrictions, provided the company wasn't already on the entity list. Xiaomi slipped right through the gap. Let's be clear, the X-Ring 01 is still a hybrid of hard-won independence and lingering reliance. Xiaomi didn't integrate a 5G cellular modem directly onto the die, an engineering and patent nightmare, opting to source it externally to bypass a legal minefield. Xiaomi knows they cannot completely sever ties to American technology tomorrow. They will still buy millions of Snapdragon chips. But they are aggressively preparing for a future where those supply chains might be violently severed, pledging a staggering $28 billion toward R&D between 2026 and 2030. The Surge chip division and the X-Ring 01 is Xiaomi's insurance policy. By quietly mastering the peripherals in the shadows over the last 5 years, they absorbed the devastating lessons of the Qualcomm trap. They navigated the absolute minefield of US export controls. They know the trapdoor is still there. They know Washington still holds the lever. But if the day ever comes when the US decides to pull the plug, Xiaomi won't be caught empty-handed like Huawei. Because while the world wasn't looking, they already drafted the blueprint to their own survival.